Romans 1, humanity struggles with its own sin and the flesh within us, our own weakness, the temptation to suppress the truth about God. And to refuse to honor God and to give Him thanks. That's always the temptation. To let God be on the throne of our life. And instead, what we want to do is we want to call the shots. We want to live according to our will and not God's will. And the crazy part of the culture that we're living in now, what's emerging is to say, look, the best thing we've got is our freedom. And I can't be free if there's anything outside of me that imposes itself on me. And that includes if there's a God and He has a law, and if that law is imposed on me, I can't be free. Because for me to be free, I've got to self-create. I have to be the origin of my own identity. I have to be the one who says what's true. I have my own truth. Ever anybody talk that way? That's your truth, not my truth. I have to be the originator of my truth. I have to self-create. And I have to, my choice of defining myself and defining what's good and what's true and what's evil, that's my job. Otherwise, I can't be free. And so the pressure today is let's throw off every external imposition, including God, so that I can be free. Because I can't be happy if I can't be free. There's the battle. And what we've always understood in Christianity, you can't be free unless you're exercising your choice toward the fulfillment of what you were made for. Until you discover the truth about where you're from and how you got here and what the point of your life is and where you're going. And so the freedom we've been given by God is freedom toward the truth, toward what God has made us to be. So here's the big collision in the world today that's going on between the two kingdoms. So at this moment in history, the Holy Father is saying, what we need to do as a church before we can impact the culture, and the reason we haven't impacted the culture of the West is because many baptized people are living lives of compromise. Well, John Paul II said we've been seduced by the temptation to a Christian minimalism. Father, tell me what I got to do to get to heaven. Well, you got to go to Mass and you got to go to confession once a year. We say, okay, what we do is we sort of hedge our bets. If there really is a hell, I don't really want to go there, so I got to ask Father, what's the minimum I have to do to make sure I don't go there? But what I really want to do, instead of living all out for Jesus Christ and passionately in love with the Lord and His church, I maybe want to follow what the world defines as happiness. I want to have a foot in both kingdoms. And what ends up happening then is it reduces the light. Because the only way our light can shine is when we're radically in love with Jesus Christ. And we've given Him the keys, right? We put Him in the driver's seat. We say, you know what, Lord, I'm done doing the driving, and I acknowledge who You are over my life. And I want to follow You. As St. Paul says, now, the whole point of my life is to please You. That's my passion. And what pleases the Lord is when we communicate to those around us the basic truth of God's love. For God so loved the world, He gave His only Son. So that we become contagious. If our hearts are not in love and our hearts are not passionate, we won't be contagious. Most people walk into typical Catholic churches. I know not this one, but typical Catholic churches you walk into these days, on a Sunday there's not too many people there. And when we're singing, there's not much singing going on. There's a performance by the music minister usually, and most people stand and don't say anything. But not here. This place just rocked. What are you doing, Father? Good singing around here. And generally, guys never sing. Typical churches, you know. And I got guys who are looking at their watches. Like we got something that we got to be in. And if Father goes more than 10 minutes, you just see the heat, man. You just see the heat building, you know. Guys are looking at their watch more and more. I got things to do, Father. I got to get out of here. Right? We're paying our dues, right? We're just hedging our bets instead of coming just passionately ready to get to share in the worship that God deserves. To come together with those who believe, the community of believers, And to be here to give to God what belongs to God. So when people come who might be distanced from the church, who come a couple times a year, when they come in, they often come into, wow, everybody looks bored. Or most people look bored. There aren't too many young people around. And why do I want to go there? They raise those questions in their own mind. And they're not attracted to it. Because many people are not radioactive with love for Christ. Because if you ask the question, what is evangelization? What is it really? At its heart, it's one beggar telling another beggar where the feast is. One forgiven sinner who's experienced God's mercy and love through Jesus Christ and the gift of new life that comes in Jesus. And we know what he's given to us. And we give it to other people in love. We don't impose it, we propose it, we share it with other people. That's kind of the simplest way to understand evangelization. You know, the church exists to evangelize, right? This is what the recent popes have told us. The reason the church exists is to evangelize. All right, if we exist to evangelize, what exactly is it from the church's perspective? How does the church describe it? Well, it begins with the Great Commission. Go make disciples. Evangelization is making disciples. All right, if we're supposed to make a disciple, what's a disciple? What are we trying to make? What are we trying to lead people into? Jesus told the apostles, go do with others what I did with you. Form and shape them to follow me. What's a disciple? A disciple is like a learner.